2. Now before I start with the papering, I've got to sand down all the filler and then apply a second coat to the filler, allow that to dry, give it a light give it a coat of PVA, thinned out PVA, and then give it a light sand, and then you can start papering. So I'll show you the papering, because you've seen a lot of the filling and you've seen how to PVA, so you understand how to do that. So I'll show you the papering when I start that. That's the second filling done, so, and it's all dry. I'm going to give it a coat of PVA now and then a light sand, and I'm going to start papering. So I'll show you the papering as it's going. So the wall I'm going to start first is the hardest wall, which sometimes is the window wall, but that's not too bad. The hardest wall today is this one with the radiator on it. You've got a bit round the tiles there, and then you've got the electric box in the top corner up there. So it's not an easy wall to paper. I've released that box to make it a bit easier for myself. So what I've done first of all is worked out where I want my first length, and what I've decided is the roll of wallpaper, when you offer it up to the wall, just comes to there. So you can see that pencil mark. I've just put it in a little bit from the paper, so then I've got enough paper to tuck round the corner. So my first length is going to go on there to make life easier, because I'm going to take it straight down to the bottom and finish off around there, and it'll just take me a little bit down onto the radiator there. So then my next length will come on down there, and it'll make it a little bit easier to go around the electric boxes there. So I'll show you this first piece when I've put it on, because you can look at the other videos of how to paste wallpaper and how to cut wallpaper, but what I'm going to do is plumb a line down off that pencil mark there. So I'm going to plumb a line down there, and then that's what I'll be putting my first length on here. It's time to put the paper up. This is what I'm using. It's good stuff. You can just see there it's got a slight texture to it. Now what you want to make sure is that all your pattern numbers, batch number and the shade are all the same before you start. Some other things you need, obviously the paste bench, and then I've got some all-purpose solvite, which is extra strong. That's ready mixed, it's good stuff. Flat brush for putting the paste on. Couple of pencils, my paper hanging brush, scissors, plumb bob, tape measure, and I've got some overlap adhesive there, border adhesive you can use, and that's for going down the corners when you overlap the paper. Alright. Okay, I'll do my best to show you how I put this first piece on. It's already sewn. I'm following the plumb line, allowing an inch round onto the ceiling. Just put the paper down your plumb line. Don't just stick it fully onto the wall straight away, because you've got to make sure it's nice and plumb. And once you've made sure it's plumb, you can start spreading it out. always making sure it's perfectly plumb, because that's your main thing. And when you're spreading it out, don't do it up and down because you stretch the pattern. Do it from side to side. So while I'm on the steps, I don't know if you can just see this little corner where the tile is here, but I'm just going to cut a relief cut there. Right, and while I'm on my steps at the top, I'll do the cut across the ceiling first. Using the back of your scissors, just run along the top. One movement, because if you do more than one movement you can make the line look a bit funny, double up on it and stuff like that. So one movement across, and then peel it back, and following the back of the paper you can see a line going up the back, and you can cut that. And then taking your cloth, wipe any paste off the ceiling and on the edge there. Because leaving any paste on any edges is a no-no. Make sure you clean it off. What I'm going to try and do here is find the bracket for the radiator down the back. Really is not easy, this. I found the bracket, and then I'm going to cut up with my scissors straight up to that line there. And then, because it's not going all the way down the back of the radiator, I'm just going to make sure I cut off enough, leave on enough so you can't see it when it's down the back of the radiator. What I'll do is I'll lower the camera down now. Right. Again, it really is not easy. Need to make another relief cut there on the tile. That's getting it the other way. not easy at all. Sometimes you do wish to take the radiators off, and I say you can take them off, but they've caused me problems in the past, so if I can get away with leaving them, right, that's not too bad. Now you can release this bottom bit. It's best you can, if you can. Getting somewhere. What you can do with this bottom bit of the pipe, excuse me, it's just making another relief cut down towards the pipe. There you go. Well, apart from a bit of trimming off, that's not too bad at all. That's on. So the bit I cut off at the top there is here, and that fits in at the bottom there. So basically that piece is on. I'll give you a quick look at that and then you can see for yourself. Just got a little piece to put in down there. Some of the cuts you have to do. That's the first piece on. Again, you can only try your best, as long as you know you can't see down the back. That's not too bad. So there's the first piece up now. That was a very difficult piece to do. Just give you a quick look round. A bit of a bubble there. Get rid of that. Just see the fine line there where I've put the the other piece in. Right, okay, so the next length is going on down there. And I'll just give you a quick talk through this, because when I put it on, obviously you've got to follow the plumb line and you come round to here. And I'm going to have to put a relief cut down to this corner, and then once I've made the relief cut to there, I'll be able to deal with everything else. Hopefully I might be able to show you. It just depends, because this room is that small, the angle's difficult to put the camera. Right, hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm doing here. It's not easy the way this room is, so here we go. Yeah, following your plumb line down first of all. What should I say? Following the plumbed piece of paper down first of all. Alright, that's not too bad for the minute. What I'm going to try and do is put a pencil mark on the corner there, and then where the pipe comes out the ceiling, or where the cable comes out the ceiling, I'm going to try and draw a straight line down the paper. Just release that to there. Hopefully that's not too bad. So taking my scissors, going from the corner mark I made, doesn't get much harder than this. I'm going to make another relief cut on that corner there, and then another relief cut on this corner on this box. With this piece, there's a pipe, or there's a cable goes across there, so I need to kind of get up behind it. So what I'm going to try and do is fold the corners in there. Either side. Tuck that up the back, like so. Need to make a little cut there. Get some there. There's another little box there. another relief cut on this other top corner. And that should tuck behind the pipe. Oh no, one more on this side. That'll need a good wipe off because there's going to be bits of paste on it here and there. Right, I'll give you a quick look at that. So the first relief cut I put there, and then I pulled my paper off and tried to keep in a straight line, cut down and then across to that corner. You can just see where it's cut is there. Again, I've got another little box and a little wire to go around there, so I'm going to tuck the paper behind that wire, and that can be finished off across there. And then when that's cut off, this little piece will finish off there. So there's the conduit that went. I had to go underneath that. So then you got another. Not easy at all whatsoever, but I've done it. Just finish this bottom bit now. Right. I'll show you when it's on, because you've seen how to do around the radiator. A closer look. This paper is getting emulsioned, so some of the trimming doesn't have to be as perfect down the edges of things, because when you paint it, it neatens everything up. I mean, it still has to be pretty good, right? Don't get me wrong, but it doesn't have to be as perfect. Right then. So the next piece I'm going to put on there, but what I'm going to do is only put it on from there down, and then the rest of that I'm going to piece in, and then after that it's plain sailing. I'm going to do the window wall next, and then I've just got this wall and that wall to do, which are really easy. I've took the pipe off and just left the screws in to make it easier. So I've only got this pipe to paper round. Okay, I'll show you each piece now as it goes up. That piece on. You see I've put a little piece on already up there, so I've just got a piece at the top to do. So I'll show you that when it's done, and I'll also put that piece on which I've got soaking there, ready to go there. Right. Okay, that's that wall done. Just put the piece in at the top there now. Looking good. Window wall now. Right, with this next length, I'm obviously got the window where I'm working round. With this paper it doesn't matter really which side I start on, because there's not exactly a pattern in it, so down the corners it's always going to match quite well. So what I've done, obviously because that side is a little bit wider than this side, I'm going to put my first piece on this side. So it comes down there and folds round to the window. So I'll have a little piece to put it on under there, and then what I'll probably do is put the next piece on down and straight round under the window and cut it across there, and then put a piece on down there. So I'll show you that as I'm doing it. I've left it like that just to show you some of the cutting off and, you know, overlap round on the ceiling. It's overlap round the wall on there. Left enough to trim off at the bottom. Now on the corner there, you can see the pencil mark coming off. That's one relief cut you need to make. I'll just show you that. Just to there, and then I've drawn another pencil line just there that you can see, and then that needs cutting. Down on that little one there. And what you want to do is taking your paper hanging brush, it's just slowly starting from the middle, work the corner round. Making sure that you don't get any bubbles in it. They're difficult to do round corners sometimes because they're never straight and you can end up with a little bubble, and sometimes you're better just letting them dry back and trying to pinch them to the corner so they're straight. Sorry, pinch them to the corner when they're wet and then just let it dry straight. And if you're emulsioning it, sometimes you can cut them off and then fill it and get away with it, but a pattern paper is a lot more difficult. Alright, it's not too bad. Just got a piece in there and then splice a piece in under there. So my next piece is going on here, straight round to the window. So this time I'm going to cut, I'm not going to do that piece, I'm just going to leave it to there. And then splice in this next piece to that. Right, so I'll show you that. All the trimming done. Ready for my next piece. It's going on there. The next piece in place. And what I'm going to do, I'll put a pencil mark on there just to show you. Off that corner, I'm going to cut down and then cut across, and then that piece, well, I mean you can actually cut that as well really, because it doesn't make any difference. I can put a pencil line there. So you cut that square off basically, and then that piece falls around to the window. So I've just got to piece in that bit there, and then one piece down there, and the window wall's finished. It's difficult to show you there with the window light coming in, but you get the idea. Now I'm on to this one. So apart from possibly showing you how to cut round the light switch, and maybe just papering over them screws down there, I'll just show you it finished. Around the light switch, what I've done is I've found where the corners of the light switch are, pressing with the paper, and I'll put some pencil marks. Popped a little hole in, and what you need to do is make sure you don't scratch the actual switch block, and then cut up to the corner of the light socket, and what you want to do is just cut over slightly. Last one. And then what you can do is just gently feed it round. And I'm doing this with one hand. And that's basically it. The reason you go a little bit over is because when you actually do start pushing it in like this, it has to go round the corner, and usually if you don't cut it far enough it'll rip on you, and a rip is worse than a cut, because a cut will sit back nice and neat, and a rip you can always see, so make sure you do that. Alright, that wall's finished now. Just give you a quick look around it. So, I've only got one wall left to do now, and that's that one. I said I'd show you these screws. Now, what I tend to do, if you've got to remove anything, you know, remove it and then put the screw back in as far as you can to the wall, just leaving it out a little bit, and then bring your paper down. And then when you get near a screw, all you've got to do with your paper hanging brush is pop it like that. There's another one there. And then you can just, using your scissors, cut a little bit on each side and push it round, and that leaves it quite perfect. All the paper's on now, so I'll give you a quick look round. You can only do your best down around the back of some of them pipes. It's pretty tight and difficult. So really it's almost looking finished, because it's getting pure brilliant white emulsion on there, on the ceiling and the walls, and the radiator's going white. It'll look a lot fresher. So that's it with part 2, and part 3 will be painting it. Alright.